Before we get started with the show, here's a quick word from our sponsor, Global Training Center. As trade compliance professionals, you want to make sure that your procedures and documentation are completed as correctly as possible to avoid any delays and possible fines. We provide a range of trade compliance courses that will fit your needs. From in-person or web training to recorded on-demand courses, we can train one or even thousands on your team through your learning platform or on our portal. We can even customize a private session for your team. Go to globaltrainingcenter.com to find out more.
Hey, folks, we're in for SimplyTrade podcast. We got another show coming up, and we got somebody that is a definite favorite of our show. She's been on several times, and she tolerates me. But as we're sitting here looking, Lalo, this is it's been kind of crazy. I am going from I was at a conference the last couple of days down in Little Rock. And I was doing my municipality type functions, learning a whole lot. And believe it or not, I see so many similarities where people are trying to stimulate their economy and, grow things, grow as far as businesses and all. And with that, we get to talking about, supply chains and, the road work they're trying to do with the trucks and all that. And comes back to, just trying to take one step at a time, but I see the same, challenges, in the ports and in countries around the world, and where we're trying to meet different folks and things and all of that and whatever. So it's been, interesting the last few days. Now I'm like shifting gears back into the supply chain here a little bit and whatnot. But saying that, we were teasing you off camera here, buddy. You folks, you got to see the YouTube version of this, because I'm telling you, Lalo's never looked any better. I'm telling you, this guy, he looks like a rich rancher sitting out here just chilling. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a tequila rancher. I'm making my own tequila, I guess. That's my only fantasy I can think of here. But anyway, no, I'm not. We just so everybody knows, we've been experimenting on sets here at the office because of our video recorded version of our trainings, our e-learning. We want to make them look nice and professional, and so we're getting there. And this is one of the sets that we are probably gonna finalize on. But anyway, yes, I've been getting teased here.
It looks great. It looks great, Lalo.
Thank you. So as you can hear in the background, Andy, I'm gonna let you go ahead and say, because you've been practicing, so you better.
Anna has been so gracious, and I screw this up every time. Anna Hinojosa.
Perfect.
Is our guest today. Anna is she is so fantastic. She covers she's so well respected and has such a great background. We've got a great show to talk about, some cool things going on. Yes, we've got a change in administration, but there are some programs and things going on. There are some needs that the government has that she's going to talk about, as far as some, opportunity for companies that may have solutions. Folks, you need to be listening to this. This is very important. And one thing I will also, in all seriousness, there used to be that commercial that said, when E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. I'm telling you, when Anna is talking, you better be listening, because there's a lot there. And you're going to see opportunities from a business perspective. So Anna, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Andy, and thanks, Lalo. I always appreciate having the opportunity to be on a podcast with you guys, because you're authentic. You're authentic, and so many places that we get a chance to speak, it's more stilted, and you have to be really careful about what you say. And I mean, not that we're not going to be careful about what we say, but it always feels comfortable talking to you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we took this opportunity to bring Anna in because the main purpose or focus here today is Anna is part of the board of a group called, I don't know what the group is called, but they promote Border Security Expo. That's the exposition, that event that they promote every year. I talked to her about 3 years ago about it when they were here in El Paso. Last year, we were involved in it a little bit. We covered it a little bit here when they were also here in El Paso. But this year, they're going to Phoenix. And around the same time, this year is going to be on April 8 and 9. Y'all, if you've never been to this expo, holy smokes. I mean, I was blown away. I mean, the stuff that they have on there, really cool stuff. And Anna, somebody was making fun of me. Anna or one of the coordinators that I was working with last year when I was there at the convention center, and this is a robotic dog. Like, it's a security dog, and my goodness, that robotic dog was amazing. Like, it could literally attack you and go after you. And oh my goodness, it was awesome. So anyway, I saw that. I saw robotic tanks. I saw the drones that were there were amazing, and then of course there's also the other aspect of it, like the field offices that you can pop up like instantly on the border, or I guess anywhere. It doesn't have to be on the border, but it's just for security purposes or to help the field personnel that are the first responders or whoever might be there. It's amazing. I just think, I got stuff out of it, and it has just nothing to do with me, with my business. But I thought to myself, in the sense of me purchasing any of their equipment or anything, but I felt like it was just eye opening and incredible. But anyway, I'll let Ana talk more about it. But so that's the main reason why we have her here, and of course, she's also a wealth of knowledge on trade with the new administration coming in. She probably knows a lot more than what we would ever know, how that happens. She's been through several administration changes. So she has a clue or insider information on that. But thank you, Ana, for joining us.
Thank you, Lalo. And Andy, you look like you want to say something.
Well, with the new administration coming in, you've been through quite a few. You've worked for the government over in Europe, representing us with the WCO. You've been obviously stateside. You've done so many different things. I'm just curious and we're going to get into all this, but with all this change that's going on and all that, from your perspective in being from the bureaucratic end of things, what's going on right now in some of the people's minds? It's like, oh crap, this is going to be a definitive change, or what? What do they need to be, and probably what do they need to do to get ready for a change?
Well, it's definitely going to be a change. But I think that I don't think it's going to be as horrible as people are predicting. I think there are a lot of things that have been, a lot of challenges that have been identified, and there'll be some course correction in some areas. Some of the things that have been put in place already with some of the compliance issues will be are driving more transparency into supply chains. That work that has been done already with whether it's due diligence laws or regulations, reporting requirements, forced labor compliance laws, and other regulations that have been coming in place are really going to be helpful in being able to understand how to comply in this new world. Again, the government, I know we were talking a little bit off camera that the government has been doing a lot in trying to identify its risks, trying to identify gaps, and looking at ways that they could possibly mitigate those gaps. And so I think we're going to see maybe an environment where they can be take a little bit more risks or be a little bit more innovative. So I'm excited about the possibility with that. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about the Border Security Expo 2025. It's traditionally been over the last, I don't know how many years, very focused on physical security at the border, a lot of focus on technology that could be used to try to intercept illegal entries into the U.S., whether it be drugs, terrorists, aliens, whatever the case may be. A lot of the focus was on that. Over the last couple of years, we've been putting in a little bit more of a trade perspective on it, where it's clear with the volume of trade. Not only is trade kind of a vector for being compromised to bring in illicit goods, but also the volume of trade, the revenue it generates, and the products that we use really constitute a national security factor to trade. So it's not border security is national security, right? And so trade is an important part of how we live in the United States. We made a decision 30 years ago to start exporting our manufacturing. And when that happened, we've now put ourselves in a position where we need goods from other countries to be able to meet our needs domestically. And that means we need to have efficient trade, fair and efficient trade. And so some of those aspects will need to be addressed this year. And I'm personally excited. This event normally opens with a very high level panel of government executives. This year will not disappoint. I'm not going to tell you all of the people that are invited at this point, but I will tell you that I'm super excited that Executive Assistant Commissioner Anne Marie Highsmith has been invited to be on that panel. That really elevates the topic of trade to an environment that normally has not included trade. And so from that perspective, I think it really is a step forward in recognizing the value of trade in our national security, and as a like I said, a vector for some of this illicit activity, whether it's drugs or unsafe products, guns, you name it, different things that may be using legitimate trade to compromise U.S. citizens and citizens of our region.
Well, let me ask you this question. Who would be the type of folks that need to attend this function?
Well, I mean, I think if you are a company that is interested in contracting with the government, there will be a lot of opportunities for whether it's software providers or hard equipment providers. As Lalo mentioned, there are certainly historically some really large government contractors that bring their big displays, whether it's giant X-ray machines, tanks, high boom cameras, sensors, but technology, services, tents, washing machine trailers, you name it. A lot of that stuff is brought in. Vehicles, bikes. I mean, there's a lot of different technology that's brought in, but I think there's also a lot of software and analytical solutions that are brought forward by some of the exhibitors, and the fact that they get access to some of the people that will be attending and presenting at this conference is really unheard of in most of these types of conference events. There will be some really high level people participating in different procurement panels from DHS and other departments of the government who are going to talk about what they're looking for when they're looking to contract with providers, and of course some of the technical people that will be speaking. I know that I'm moderating a panel that's titled Trade and Technology. We've invited a few executive directors from CBP that are responsible for most of the trade process, both with the Office of Trade and the Office of Field Operations and with the Office of Information Technology. There's a lot of innovation that's happening within the agency, and they've really been exploring, in some cases through partnerships with industry, areas that need improvement, areas where, they're receiving quite a bit of congressional pressure to improve enforcement at. And so this is a great opportunity to hear directly from those responsible for implementing some of those programs, what they need, what they're trying, what areas they're exploring. I mean, I've heard one of the things that we will be talking about is the technology that they're currently testing or kind of looking at proof of concepts for. And certainly the government has been utilizing artificial intelligence in some of their processes. We'll hear a little bit about that, I think. And then there's some new technology that I'm not even very familiar about. So I'm going to be excited to hear about it. Things like quantum cryptography and other interesting things that will be great to hear about.
Sounds fantastic. All right. So here's one of the things that I'm hearing is that any of the companies that they're going to, even if they're not exhibiting, they're going to see, obviously who is exhibiting. So maybe some competitors or some others, but, even if they are exhibiting, is maybe even is listening to the opportunities. What I see is opportunities to potentially identify other companies to partner with. You've got one software solution or you've got one particular solution in one particular thing, but the government's saying they need a more holistic. Well, there's nothing wrong with partnering with some people and going in with a package in there. So I see some opportunities there where people don't need to go in with a closed mind. They need to be the only solution for a particular issue. It's like, hey, you're better off to partner.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, you also have other people who are really experimenting and trying new things with the products and solutions that they're offering. It could be a place to really figure out whether your technology and development or research and development is going in the right direction, whether some of the things that you are investing in, maybe you can leapfrog an iteration of your technology by learning, what has worked or not worked for others.
Well, even in other areas, Anna, I remember off to the corner there in the exhibit hall, they had this big area where, it might have seemed cool because they were giving you massages and, kind of like stress-free stuff. I don't know if you remember that in the corner last year, but the purpose for them being there was because they are mental health professionals that help. I mean, because these field agents and even people in security, I mean, they need, that relief. I mean, my point here is that it's not restricted to like the guns and the drones and the software and all that. I mean, it's all
although they're there.
Yeah. It's all aspects of that, right? You also need to worry and take care of like, this does affect the field agents a lot. They see things that I know I don't want to see. You know what I mean? And they sometimes don't want to bring that to their families. And so, anyway, my point is you'll find a wide range of different services and providers here, not just limited to like the cool, like I say, my version of cool, like the technology and stuff. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up because if anybody is also even thinking of that, like, if there's like Andy said, a municipality out there with their officers, like their SWAT team, for example, and how do we take care of them after they go they come off of a whatever, something that might have happened that was traumatic. I mean, even things like that you need to take care of.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there'll be lots of tactical equipment and supply exhibitors there. But you're right. There's a lot of kind of human resource, mental health, resiliency type service providers that participate. New things that providers that offer, something to stay cool with, or something a good way to clean water, or different things like that may not be a giant tank, but still interesting solutions that maybe could fill a need for the government. I think it's a great opportunity to meet and even just learn about directly from the people who do the government contracting. If you're a small business and want to learn more about that, there's actually going to be some resources there for you to talk to people for, just for being a conference attendee, to learn more about how you could possibly partner or do some matchmaking with some bigger, prime contractors to provide some piece of what the government might need.
Yeah, to your point there, let me jump in on something, is that a lot of folks want to that, they can look at some of these conferences, whatever, and say, here's an opportunity. There are some basic fundamental things that you should be doing right now, and it's fine to go look, but you should have your company or the appropriate folks go ahead and reach out. If you are not already set up as a vendor with the U.S. government, get off your duff and do it. You're going to sit there. You can see an opportunity. You've not gone through and done all the bureaucratic things you need to do. And guess what? You're going to get left behind. So, go ahead and get yourself set up, do the things, cross your T's, dot your I's, go through all that and get going on that. And while that's going on, then you can, as if you're a CEO or a high level executive, you can start looking at the opportunities while your administrative folks are getting you set up to where you can take advantage of the situation.
Yep. So anyway, I will be there. I will look forward to seeing everybody there. Please look me up if you do attend the Border Security Expo. I'd love to talk to you. And I always love talking to Andy and Lalo.
All right. So let's go over the dates again. And how can they, if somebody's interested, where can they go to get the information to sign up?
Right. So the dates are April 8th and 9th in Phoenix. And the website is Border Security Expo 2025. And we look forward to seeing all of you there.
Yeah, either way, we'll have that on the show notes. So if you're driving and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to write this down or whatever, don't worry. Just look in the show notes. It's going to be on there. As always, Anna's information is also going to be on there if you need to get a hold of her, especially, I guess, just to ask questions on how, as a trade professional or someone crossing over into trade like supply chain or whatnot, how it might benefit you. I mean, you'll see some benefits. Believe me. Like I said, I know when I went, I don't use that in my practice. I just like teach about it or preach about it, et cetera, and tell people about it. But I'm sitting there, last year, like I said, when I attended it, almost like a kid in a candy store. It was really cool to go and see and talk. I mean, we talked to some security professionals that just kind of eye-opening things, So anyway, but yes, we'll have that information on there on the show notes.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of the first conferences that some of these high-level government representatives will be attending after the inauguration of the new administration. So I think there'll be some new information to share.
There's going to be a lot of actions and taking, so you're looking at what, 90 days in there or 60 days, whatever it is. But I will say last year, Lalo, seriously, when you came back, you were so excited and you were pumped. I remember that. And we had some great conversations. So folks, I'm going to tell you, this Border Security Expo is something worth it. Just go. Just expose yourself to, if you're not used to seeing that kind of stuff, you're going to be impressed because we have some phenomenal folks that are doing well. And then seeing the new bells and whistles, if you will, of technology, but also getting to interact with, first off, I got to tell you, border security folks are fantastic. They work their tails off. And then you add that with the CBP, which is great as well. But I mean, I'm telling you that this whole thing is going to be well worth your time, especially if you're looking for, potentially working with the government to, secure our border and take care of some things. So it's a great one. I was envious. I didn't get to go last year and I think I've got a conflict this year, but go please. So. Anyway, well, folks, anything else that we need to look at here, Anna, for this?
No, just thank you for having me on the show again. I always love talking to you guys. I hope to see you guys again soon.
Oh, looking forward to it. Hey, folks, listen, we greatly appreciate you. This is, again, Border Security Expo 2025. Check it out. Thank you for our listenership. We keep saying this. We're so humbled You guys have really been expanding our listenership. It's been great. You're sharing us. You're liking us. We're in one, I think you told me, Lalo, I think in one of the podcast things, we're in like 30 some odd countries, and in Apple, 42 countries.
Something like that.
Listen,
So.
And golly, thank you so much for that. So with that, please subscribe if you haven't already. And other than that, thank you again for listening to SimplyTrade.
Thank you very much for joining us. SimplyTrade is brought to you by the generous contributions of Global Training Center. You can follow the show and GTC on LinkedIn or Twitter and other social networks. Make sure you check out the show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's show with all the important links. Also, make sure that you share this with a friend and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. We really like hearing from you. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to rate and review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show or would like to sponsor SimplyTrade or suggest any topic you would like for us to discuss, please contact us via email at simplytrade@globaltrainingcenter.com, or you can DM us on Twitter at SimplyTradePod. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. Happy trading. SimplyTrade is not a law firm or an advisor. The topics and discussions conducted by SimplyTrade hosts and guests should not be considered and is not intended to substitute legal advice. You should seek appropriate counsel for your own situations. These conversations and information are directed towards listeners in the United States for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only and should not be substituted for legal advice. No listener or viewer of this podcast should act or refrain from acting on the basis of information on this podcast without first seeking legal advice from counsel. Information on this podcast may not be up to date depending on the time of publishing and the time of viewership. The content of this posting is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. The views expressed in or through this podcast are those of the individual speakers, not those of their respective employers or Global Training Center as a whole. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the contents of this podcast are hereby expressly disclaimed.